to discuss House Bill 213 and the foreclosure crisis generally. Obviously, I'm proud to stand here with our leader, Franklin Sands, who has also been a strong advocate for homeowners in this process. We have seen, it's a familiar story. 2008, 2007, we saw a collapse of the real estate market, and Florida was one of the hardest hit in the nation. Since then, we've seen a lot of push for first non-judicial foreclosure, which I'm proud to say we stopped 2 years in a row. Back in 2009, there was a push, and we were able to successfully amend on getting homesteaders out of that, and that ultimately led to be a poison pill to ultimately kill the legislation. I'm also proud to say that we have convinced peers on both sides of the aisle that non-judicial will not work. It will be unlawful, it will be against our Constitution, and so with your all's help, and with the help of a lot of folks up here, we have at least gotten past that juncture. Now, there are issues in the current bill that we have been looking at that we have concerns about. But first and foremost, I do want to say the bill is no longer on the agenda. And there's a reason for that. The reason is all of you. The reason is that you have made your calls. You have come up here. And presence is important. I know we have folks here who have come from the far corners of Florida on buses all night last night to be here. Your presence makes a difference. And I want to take a moment to thank you and give you some applause, because I know how hard it is to do. The bill as it stands, as it goes through the Senate and the House, would expedite into one hearing these foreclosure proceedings. In addition, it would lower the burden of proof. It would be the only civil case that would have to have a judgment based upon the preponderance of the evidence rather than a material issue of fact, which means that if you have, it's basically increasing your burden from just having one fact that shows you can't have judgment to having to actually literally prove your case in the court proceeding. The other issue that we have concerns about is abandonment. There are often times when people have to work 2-3 jobs. They're not at home all the time. So it may look like there's an abandoned property. The problem is that person is still litigating their case, and what this bill would do would be allow a process server. We want law enforcement to verify whether people have abandoned their properties or not. Another big issue that has come up is court funding. We had in 2010, $10 million go to foreclosure courts to try to sort this out. Now, I know a lot of folks have problems with what has happened in individual cases in court, but I really believe the truest way to resolve this and protect rights is to make sure we have enough judges to be able to go over this stuff, and not a handful of judges without resources who are then, by their situation, encouraged to move these things along. Another issue that's come up is we've had a potential settlement among the 50 states. I know there are good points and bad points to it. The one good point, though, is that Florida would get a large share of this $25 billion settlement. The concerns that I still have with it are whether we're still going to have immunity for folks who broke the law. And that's something that we still need to be sticklers on. And so I want to thank the AGs of of Nevada and California for not sticking to the deal. And as a result, we got a better deal even for Florida. So I do want to give it a hand at least to California and to Nevada for doing the right thing. It's not the perfect deal yet, but it is going in the right direction. So I do want to thank them for doing that. We can't just sweep people out of their homes to try to get past this crisis. We need to protect people's rights, and we need to have substantial resources. It is not about changing policy to make it easier. It's about making sure that we have a fair system that will move these cases through efficiently but effectively, so that if you have a claim, if you have a defense, you can be heard. And if it is one of those cases where people are looking to move on, then we need to be able to do that in an efficient manner, but not in any way that's going to trample people's rights. With that, I just want to thank my friends here, Matt White, I just want to make sure I get that right, and our leader, Franklin Sands, for coming along. I do want to give you Jim to say a few words.
Just very few.
Yes, I would.
Okay. Darren has covered the issues. For me, it's a very, very simple issue. To have people move on or move back in. The reality is that so many people are out of their homes in Florida, and these are hard-working people, no question about it. I've met with a constituent where the mother and family are living in a car while the dad goes elsewhere to try to find work. This is absolutely wrong. People who go from living in homes to living in shelter, these are hard-working Floridians. There's something wrong with the process. It has to be fixed, and we have to find jobs for people, but more importantly, we have to get people back into their homes. Thank you.
I do want to mention one more story here. This is a good friend of mine from Orange County, a firefighter for how many years?
25.
Why don't you tell them how much you lost your home for?
$2,000 my balance.
And why did that happen?
I was going through a divorce at the same time, but the judge, that once I found out that they had moved to summary judgment, the judge seemed to be more concerned about getting the case through the judgment, through the courts rather, than serving the just law. So as a result, I lost the home. Still working on that, but that's where it is at this point. 30 years.
Right. These are the types of reasons why it is not about expediency. It's about having this substantial resources and not changing things to make it easier. We keep things as is, just like with every other type of court case that we have in the state of Florida. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that anybody has.
Reverend Thompson behind you.
I'm sorry. We have the good Reverend here from Eatonville.
Well, first of all, thank you. So, I represent
Speaking of
Pico
Mike.
United.
Mike.
I represent Pico United Florida, along with Focus, Federation of Congregations United to Serve. We have with us Organized Now, as well as Mortgage Justice. And we're here to say that this Florida Foreclosure Fair Act is unfair. Some 600,000 families are suffering as a result of this potential bill that may go through. So we're here to communicate to those of you who are not aware of this, that there are many families that are suffering as a result of this. As was mentioned earlier, there are families that are living in their cars. There are people who are experiencing a lot of problems as a result of this particular bill. So we're here to say that it's an unfair act, and we're here to fight against it, and we'll do everything that we can to do so.
Thank you.
My name is Barbara Stevens. I'm from Sarasota, Florida, and Mortgage Justice. And I just wanted to tell you briefly about my situation, which is I have 4 Doc X assignments signed by Linda Green and 6 other robo-signers. And I think it's pretty evident. I think most of you probably know who Linda Green is. She's been on 60 Minutes 3 times saying I'm not the vice president of any bank, although she signed it, and they're using this assignment to take my house. And I've been up in court myself. I don't have a lawyer. I've told the judge, look, this is a Linda Green assignment. He doesn't even know who she is. So they are foreclosing on fraudulent paperwork, 2 different notes. You know, one has an allonge that says it's Deutsche Bank that's foreclosing, but Deutsche Bank would have a hard time proving that they owned the note, that they ever owned the note, and especially that they owned it when they put in the complaint. So these things are going on, and if we let this bill go through, I won't have a chance. They'll just come in and take the house, and we shouldn't let that happen.
Thank you so much. Now we're here with Mr. Whitener, and then we'll take questions.
This is the most beautiful thing I've seen in this country in a very long time. Look around you. This is a cross-section of Florida. Look around you. These are your neighbors from every corner of this state, both parties, all races, all creeds, standing together with leadership like the people we see right behind us. Again, it's going to be both sides of this party in this state, standing together and saying we're going to stand up for the rights of Floridians. I like the comment I just heard back there. It said, move back in or move along. Do it with justice, do it with equality and dignity. It's a beautiful thing you folks have done here. Congratulations and thank you to all of you.